people, this is Trupti Shegde. Have you ever thought why two people exposed to the same disease have different outcomes? One falls completely ill, other survives it like a soldier. Well, the answer is susceptibility. Today, let's dive deep into the concept of susceptibility. Before directly going into the definition, we'll first understand the concept of susceptibility. Imagine that there are two sponges. One is a dry sponge, while the other is a wet sponge. Now tell me, which of these sponges will get attracted towards water? Of course, the one that is dry. Why do you think this sponge gets attracted towards water? Because sponge can attract water droplets only because there is a void present in the sponge, or in other words, there is a deficiency present in the sponge which makes it attract water droplets. Is it not? In a similar manner, in case of human beings, we attract the things we are deficient of. Like for example, imagine you are hungry. So tell me now, what will you attract? You will attract food. Is it not? Yes. Once the food is given to you, you feel full. You will ask for no more food. Hence, even if the food is given to you, you will reject it. Why will you reject it? Because now your hunger has been satisfied. Is it not? Reaction of your body towards the external agents is, in simpler words, your susceptibility. So, your body can be susceptible to food, to water, to temperature, or to anything for that matter. Now, what happens is, due to certain factors like environment, second are miasms, third, due to stress, or fourth, heredity. Due to all these factors, our body gets susceptible to diseases. Now, what does susceptibility to disease mean? It means that our body starts attracting all sorts of diseases. Now, what kind of disease it will attract or what will be the outcome of the disease will be decided again by these factors. Okay, now let's see what according to H.A. Roberts is susceptibility. According to Dr. H.A. Roberts, susceptibility is expression of vacuum in an individual. Now, what does this mean? I've taken the example of a dry sponge. Now, the dry sponge will attract water because it is somewhere deficient of this water, right? It had holes in it which had the tendency to attract the water. Is it not? This means that we will attract diseases if we have tendency towards them, right? We will attract diseases only if we have tendency towards them. Now, where does this tendency come from? It comes from the factors which were mentioned above, right? And one of the main factor is miasm. This miasm creates a vacuum. What is this vacuum? It is somewhere a tendency. It is a tendency of our body to attract diseases. And imagine a wet sponge now. Will this wet sponge attract water? No. Why? Because its tendency towards water has been satisfied. Similarly, as far as our body's tendency towards a disease remains unsatisfied, our body will keep on attracting diseases, and this is known as morbid susceptibility. What was normal susceptibility? Like the hunger, thirst, our body's reaction towards environment is normal susceptibility. When this susceptibility starts attracting diseases due to the underlying factors like miasm, our heredity and all of that, then it becomes morbid because now it is attracting diseases and it will keep on attracting these diseases until the body's susceptibility has been satisfied. So this vacuum that is said is basically a tendency. Now read the definition over here. Expression of vacuum in an individual, which means that whatever the vacuum expresses, if the vacuum expresses XYZ disease, then that XYZ disease will be attracted towards your body. If the vacuum expresses some PQR disease, then a PQR disease will be attracted towards your body. So susceptibility is an expression of vacuum in an individual. This is in the case of diseases. Okay. This can also be taken physiologically. How? Imagine you are hungry. Now when you are hungry, what will the vacuum express? Or what will your tendency be? Your tendency will be towards food. You will attract food, right? You will crave food. You will feel to have food. You will have the urge to have food, right? Which means that your vacuum is expressing the urge to have food. Is it not? And when will you feel satisfied? When you have that food, right? When you have food, you will feel satisfied and the vacuum will no longer express, right? So, it's a similar manner that it applies for the diseases as well. Due to the miasm, Due to the miasm, your body's vacuum starts attracting diseases. This is the meaning of expression of vacuum in an individual. Now we will move further towards the definition. Furthermore, in the definition he adds, the vacuum attracts and pulls for the things that are on the same plane of vibration as the want of body. Now I know it sounds very confusing, but it is very easy. Let me explain it to you in easy language. Now imagine this is you or this is me, anyone, and I am hungry. See, I am a foodie, so I will always take the example of food, okay? Okay. So imagine that I am hungry. Now, if I'm hungry, what will my vacuum express? It will express the urge to have food, right? Now, imagine I want food and you say, Trupti, go on a walk. Will my vacuum be satisfied or will the urge to eat food be satisfied? No. You will say, Trupti, listen to music. Will my hunger be satisfied? No. You will say, Trupti, study a little. Will my hunger be satisfied now? No. In fact, I'll get even more angry, right? So, yes. Why will it not be satisfied? Because to satisfy hunger, I need food and only food. Nothing else will satisfy my hunger because the plane of vibration of food is different and the plane of vibration of this is different. In simple language, I know it's not homeopathically accurate, but yeah, this is what it actually means. You know, the vibes won't be satisfied. So, the plane of vibration of the want of body, which basically means that your body wants food and your food is the only thing that will satisfy your vacuum. Now, if you go on a walk, if you listen to music, or if you're studying, then this all work on a different vibration. And your body wants a different vibration. Your body wants food and you're asking it to go on a walk, listen to music or study. It will not help. You're understanding? This is what it means. The vacuum attracts and pulls for the things that are on the same plane of vibration as the want of body. What is the want of body? Food. So what is the same plane of vibration? Food. So vacuum attracts and pull for those things. So you vacuum attracts and pulls for food. And it is the only thing that will satisfy your hunger. So yeah, vibes should be matched in homeopathy as well. Okay, keep that in mind. Coming to the next part. Now we will look into the definition completely. Now, let us look into the definition completely. In analyzing the susceptibility, it is very largely the expression of vacuum in an individual. The vacuum attracts and pulls for things that are on the same plane of vibration as the want of the body, which basically means that our susceptibility attracts the things which are on the same plane of vibration as the want of body. Whatever our body is deficient in, it attracts that. So if we are deficient of food, it attracts food. If our miasms are dominant, then our body will attract diseases, right? So now there's a question. In the last slide, we have seen that our hunger cannot be satisfied by listening to music or going to walk. In a similar manner, I said that if our miasms are dominant, then we start attracting diseases, right? Then what will satisfy diseases? Or in other words, what is in same plane of vibration as a miasm? Let's see. So this is you. This is your vacuum and you have a miasm, right? And your miasm is dominant. Let's take for example. And your miasm starts attracting diseases. Now to satisfy this or to satisfy your miasm, what should be given to you to satisfy your miasm? Yes, it is exactly what you're thinking. Or in case it has not crossed your mind, remember what is in the same plane of miasm? Our miasm is craving for diseases, right? So to satisfy the disease, we have to give something of the similar kind, right? Now what is the similar? Remember, now I'll tell a line and you will remember everything. There is something known as similia similibus curantur. What is this? Yes, our homeopathy. You must have got an idea of how homeopathic medicines actually work, right? What do we do in homeopathy? We do drug proving. And through drug proving, what do? We come with certain symptoms. And when a patient comes, we match the symptoms of the patient with the symptoms of the drug. So what are we doing here? A patient has a vacuum or a miasm, right, which is attracting diseases. Now to satisfy this miasm, we give a drug which produces the same symptoms, which produces the same kind of miasm, right? So basically, we satisfy the miasm and we satisfy the vacuum, due to which, like I had told, a wet sponge. The wet sponge will not attract any more water. Why? Because it is satisfied. In a similar manner, once a homeopathic remedy is administered based on the law of similaris, once the homeopathic remedy is administered based on the law of similaris, the miasm is satisfied, the vacuum is satisfied, and hence it will no longer be attracted to that disease. You understand? This is what H.A. Roberts says in its sayings. Okay? Coming to the next part. Now, in examples of susceptibility, in the starting phase of the writing, Dr. H.A. Roberts gives a few examples which might appear in exams for which we have to be prepared. So, the first example is of peaches. He says that few horticulturists grew peaches, but unfortunately all of them died. Then J.H.A. Hill, then Dr. J.H. Hale found out that to grow peaches, we need a soil rich in potash. He went to the same place and found out the soil there was deficient of potash. Hence, that was the reason the peaches failed. So he said that in case the soil is provided with enough potash, then we can grow peaches successfully. This was the first example. The second example is of Bengal tiger. The Bengal tiger has adjusted itself to the tropical areas of India. Now, how is the climate here? It's humid and warm, right? So if it goes to places where this is not the temperature, then it will succumb to death, or it will not get adjusted easily because it is susceptible to any temperature other than tropical, right? The third example is of polar bear. Now, as we know that polar bear is extremely good in, yes, cold climates, or in other words, it survives beautifully in the Arctic areas. Now, if this polar bear is brought to some warm area like Rajasthan, then it will succumb to death again. Why? Because it is susceptible to warm areas, right? It is immune to cold areas, but it is susceptible to warm areas. Now, there is a very famous line from H. Roberts: "One man's meat is another man's poison." What does this mean? If I can digest a food beautifully, the same food need not be suitable to everyone. You can suffer from diarrhea after eating the same food, and I can become stronger after eating the same food. So every individual is different. Okay, this is what it means. One man's meat is another man's poison. He also speaks of seashore. One person's condition might improve in the seashore, while other persons might deteriorate. Exactly, this is the example given by H. Roberts. Dr. H. Roberts mentions, which is about altering the susceptibility. He says that due to various systems that we have seen in today's world. Now, since I personally don't like spreading hate against any system, so I will not name any system over here. You have to understand it on your own. Okay, so let's take for example XYZ system. So since some XYZ system, because of the processes of the XYZ system that are followed, our susceptibility gets altered, and the susceptibility is altered to such an extent where it becomes difficult for us to cure diseases, or it becomes very hard to cure the diseases. And so he says that the susceptibility of a human being should not be altered. A medicine should be given in such a way that the susceptibility of a person is always preserved. This was the gist about susceptibility by Dr. H. A. Roberts. If there's anything else you want to know, please leave it in the comment section, and also let me know what videos you want to watch so that I can prepare for those videos and upload it as soon as possible. Thank you for watching, and keep supporting. Like, share and comment. Thank you, and also subscribe. Thank you.